So is Mau Mau's dad hiding something? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to episode 8 of the Apothecary Diaries. And just right off the bat, gonna get this out of the way. For those who didn't hear last week when I mentioned it, just as a reminder, after today, we are taking a break from Apothecary Diaries. We will be back. We're not dropping it. We're just taking a break in order to refresh myself, but also because we need this slot, like, by next week. Because we are bringing back Sanda. I specifically said when we did the first impression of Sanda that we would get back to it during the holiday season, and so I needed a slot next week. This is the only thing that I could feel right about taking off at this point. So, yeah, Sanda will be taking over this slot going forward. But Apothecary Diaries will be back in the future. Probably pretty early next year, I would hope. I don't plan for it to be gone for too long because I do want to get back to it and see more. I don't know if this episode's going to be a good place to leave off, but we're going to find out. So, last episode, Mau Mau learned that she could go home. She learned that using the hairpin that she received, she could basically return it for a blessing to leave the rear palace temporarily. She definitely knew what it was about, though. Like, the others are thinking she didn't know that, oh, you're supposed to also offer sexual favors in order to get that. It basically, the hairpin acts as like a request for sexual favors for favors. But I think Mau Mau very much knew this, and that's why her decision when, going to this guy to ask for it was like, oh, in exchange, I will introduce you to these 3 famous concubines who work at the brothel that I frequented. I will give you a letter of introduction so you will be able to have fun with them. And it's like she obviously knew, and that's why she used that as a bargaining chip. She knew exactly what to use. And we even have further evidence by the fact that she, before choosing him, this officer who gave her the hairpin, she was contemplating over the other people who gave her them, and was even like questioning Jinshi being a eunuch, if that would even like make sense to go to him for this. So she had already planned the entire thing with the brothel, and she just had to find the exact right person to do it with, to execute the plan with. And it's like, that's, yeah, Mau Mau is smart enough to have come up with that pretty much on the spot. So I definitely think, like, the instant she realized she could get out, honestly, I think the instant she got them, she knew what they were about. But the instant she knew she could get out with them, she didn't know that part. Like, she instantly formulated the plan as to what to do. So she got to go back. We get to see the person running the brothel. We don't get to see any of the girls in last episode, but that might be saved for this one. We also get to see Mau Mau visiting her father and kind of excitedly telling him everything that's happened while she's been away for, what was it, 6 to 8 months, something like that. But he had an odd reaction. First of all, when she walked in, he's like, oh, you've been gone a while. That is a weird reaction for your daughter being gone 6 to 8 months. And then on top of it, Like he gives this reaction, this silent expressive reaction. Or no, he says like one thing, like when she's like going to sleep or whatnot. He's like the rear palace. That's interesting, or something like that, which is a really weird, suspicious thing to say. And thinking about it over this past week makes him kind of suspicious. It's like I don't think I was thinking about it right at the time when I reacted to last episode. But why does that sound like he could be behind things? And if he were, why? Because it doesn't look like he dislikes her or anything, or he resents her. I don't get that vibe. But I mean, it might be tricking us with that. Why, if he were behind it, like behind her getting kidnapped and sold to the rear palace, why? If he were, he didn't know that she was going to be sold to the rear palace. He didn't know that aspect of things. Was there a different plan? What was the goal here? Did he do it out of like bad intent? Or did he like was he weirdly trying to give her like a better life or something? I don't know what was going on. But I don't know. I've been getting those vibes since last week that he might be behind it because of like the weird ass reactions. Though again, the fact that he barely reacted to her being back is also kind of strange. Like if he expected her to be away, possibly permanently for whatever reason, why would his reaction to her being back be so casual? He wasn't surprised or anything. I just don't know. I mean, I'm hoping we'll find out this episode. And I'm kind of hoping that we see the sex workers, the ladies, because one of them, if I remember right, was voiced by Kieran Strange, who's a friend of mine, and a voice actor who I've met many times through Youmacon. Um, he's fantastic, and he's one of the big reasons that I discovered, you know, my gender identity. Like he was a big influence for me in that regard. And it was through talking with him about it that I was able to come out in the first place back in 2017. So, yeah, it's like I'm very indebted to him, and I like hearing him in things, especially big shows. Like he's done a lot of like smaller name series, ones that aren't as well known. But I love it when he's like in big shows, even if it's a small role. He had a small role in My Hero Academia as well. It was like just like some desk worker or something. I think it was at the newspaper that the guy, the one like, you know that one like reporter guy who was like talking to Deku and stuff, who was like, I think he was a filler character for the first episode of, I want to say, season 4. He's like a filler character, and like he was like getting all buddy buddy with Deku to try and get information. But he was like a good guy. He wasn't a bad guy. I think it was at his office or whatnot that Kieran's character worked. I think. I'm not 100% confident on that, but I think that's the case. Either way, yeah, I believe that they play one of the sex workers in this. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but yeah. If we see her in this episode, if we see their character, I'll point it out. Um, but yeah, I'm very interested to see where this goes. If we find out any big information here, if we find out something about the father specifically, I'm very curious. I do feel like this will probably be the end of this little like going home arc, though. It's like I don't feel like there's too much else. Unless there's one more episode, that's possible. But it's not going to be long because she doesn't have long to be away from the Rear Palace. It's a very temporary thing. So I don't think we're going to get too much with it. I think it's going to probably set up some stuff for the future. But we'll see. We'll see. In the meantime, let's just get into this and hope for the best. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, this episode had a lot of potential, but I think it was like super rushed. And I think a lot of it comes down to, I feel like this story needed more time to breathe, like the poisoning at the brothel and everything. And then it's like you just kind of wrap it up super quick. It like goes to all this thinking about what happened and everything, and then suddenly, oh, I'm leaving, oh, I'm back, oh, I'm having this silly misunderstanding with Jinshi. It's like, slow down. It tries to end this arc, this little mini arc, this little plot line way too quick and sudden. And I really feel like this needed another episode, and I don't know like how this is done in the original manga. Maybe they just didn't have enough for another full episode and wanted to make sure they ended it rather than ending it like partway into an episode. But it just feels really off to me because of the pacing. It just feels like there wasn't a lot of attention given to things that really could have and should have been given attention to. And honestly, it leaves a lot hanging. We don't find out answers to a lot of things. And you could almost say that that's like intentional, like, oh, maybe some things will come back in the future. Maybe this wealthy asshole will make a reappearance. Maybe whatever might be going on with the father comes back at some point. The problem is it's so vague to the point of feeling unsatisfying. Because like with the brothel poisoning and everything, it just feels like you're left hanging without like any proper resolution to the mystery. Like you have an idea of what could have happened, but as is pointed out by both the father and Mao Mao, it's conjecture. It's not entirely clear or confirmed that like, you know, the entire brothel, everyone there was in on it and stuff. Give me a second here as well. I did want to look this up. Okay, apparently there's another character Monica Rial plays in Apothecary Diaries, but it's not the character we saw there. And that I wanted to look that up because I was like, that sounds so much like Monica. And I just wasn't sure. I wasn't confident. I don't know when this came out, when the dub for this came out. Oh, here we go. Okay, she's listed as this other character and then as the narrator. Which, there's a narrator for this? Have I just been missing that? But it's like this other character, like, I don't think we've seen yet. I'm not going to look too much into it because, like, I don't want spoilers, but. Oh no, we have seen her because this says she debuted in episode 5. Maybe she didn't have a speaking role. The character's name is Adwo. Or maybe she had like a very small speaking role. But it said she debuted in episode 5. So, okay. I'm not going to look up anything more just for fear of spoilers, but maybe she was this servant girl as well, and it just didn't. She's just not like majorly credited for it because it's like such a minor role. But yeah, um, either way, I just wish things were wrapped up a little nicer with this, and I wish we did get some answers. Um, I don't know if there's like a reason for the father like acting as mysterious and suspicious as he was, but it just feels off to me. And I mentioned my theory before, and it just the fact that we don't really get much of anything with that in this episode. We have no like follow up to that weird look and all. It's just it feels so unsatisfying. It's like you're going to tease us like that and then just not follow up on it. That that sucks, you know? And again, they might be holding that for the future, which is very possible, but I feel like they should at least have added one more tease for it. Because it just feels like they kind of forgot about it, or like it just didn't mean anything. And so it's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to think now. And again, on top of it, the pacing in general, even ignoring like stuff that it could have like talked more about or shown more of, it's like just the general pacing felt very quick. It felt like this arc was just rushed to be wrapped up without like actually feeling like it naturally came to an end. And it's like it just feels like it's not given enough time. I feel like this episode should have focused a lot more specifically on the poisoning. I feel like we should have focused a lot more on that. Maybe shown more of the brothel Mau Mau is familiar with, and ended without her going home yet. The next episode starts with her leaving and going home, and we have the entire stuff with Jinshi, and then it moves into the next plot line. I think that would have been better. It would have given more time to breathe on the general poisoning plot and everything in this episode, and would have allowed for the return home not to feel as like thrown in without a care in the world, because it just didn't feel natural at the end there. It felt like it was like just like throwing that in just to conclude things here. um Mind you, I will say, like, finishing off this arc, this little plot line on the episode that I said was going to be the last for the time being while we take our break from this, is helpful from a reaction standpoint. It doesn't leave us off on a big cliffhanger, but at the same time, it's from just someone who enjoys, well put together stories, was not well put together. Not as well as it should have been and could have been. Um I feel like the ending gag with like the misunderstanding and everything with Jinchi was also very tonally weird compared to the rest of this episode. Like most of this episode had a very serious tone to it. Um Discussing obviously a very serious poisoning and attempted murder. Not to mention the family stuff and the stuff with the brothel, and it's just like I feel like suddenly shifting to that extreme comical tone felt a little off, because it's like there was a little bit of like comedic stuff throughout the episode, tiny bits here and there, but it like switched tones completely, and along with the pacing issue, that also kind of like felt very off as a viewer. And it's just like I wish this episode and this little mini arc in general also went more into Momo and her connections with the brothel workers, because we pretty much didn't tackle that at all. Like there was a tiny bit of like showing her with the madam in last episode, but it's like this episode, like we saw her with Mei Mei and that's it. And they just had a very brief discussion. And Mei Mei mentioned, "Have you visited this thing yet?" And she's like, "Not yet," but we don't actually get to see anything come of that. It just completely ignores that and moves on to Mao Mao leaving. And it's like, okay, why fucking bring that up? You're just setting stuff up for the future, but like you could have done something with that now. It just goes in with this entire thing feeling rushed. It's like it's trying to force in these plot points for later, but not doing it well. Like you can set up things for the future, and I like when shows do that, but they have to do them in a certain way. If you're just throwing things at the audience, telling them like, "Oh, here's something for you to be interested in that has relevance to what's happening now," but you're not going to see anything happen to it like for however many chapters or episodes. It's like that's not setting that up well. You have to make it clear from the setup that it's not going to come into play until later. That it's going to be something that's worked on and worked toward. But that's not how this is set up. These things are set up as if they're going to be revealed while Mao Mao is here. But then they just aren't. And so it's like, I don't know what they were trying to do here. I don't know if this is an issue with only the anime adaptation or if it was like this in the manga. But it just did not work, in my opinion. It was not good. And again, the potential was here. This could have been like a phenomenal story. But again, it's just the way it was handled. It feels like there was so many missed opportunities, so much poor pacing and handling of things. And I was really invested and interested in this story. Honestly, I think this should have been more episodes too. Because again, I think that there should have been more like touched on with like the brothel and Mao Mao's connections to things and her father. I really feel like they just skimmed past that. Hopefully they do something with this more in the future. I assume they're going to. But as of where it was like set up for now, what they did with it here wasn't good. It was poorly handled and I just really could not get into it. And so I really feel let down going into this hiatus we're going to go into. It's not like the worst episode of anything I've seen by any means. It just wasn't well thought out and well handled. So, yeah. Tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode? And just as a reminder, this break is just temporary. We will be coming back to Apothecary Diaries in the future. We're not dropping it. Not by any means. I very much enjoy this series, but I do feel like I need a break, and I do feel like this is the best time to do it because I needed that spot open for Sanda anyway. So yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.